So I get asked about this pedal pretty often over on Instagram, and today I'm going to talk about why I think the Meris Mercury7 is still one of the best ambient reverbs in 2026. Welcome back, Andrew here with Ambient Endeavors, and today I'm excited to do kind of a sound exploration video on one of my favorite reverbs and one that I would deem a modern classic in terms of ambient leaning reverb pedals. The Mercury7 from Meris, it's been out for probably 10 years or so at this point, and I think there's still a lot to love about this pedal, some really compelling reasons to look for it or consider it if you're in the market for an ambient reverb, even in 2026 here. And so we're going to talk about a few of those things, and I'm mostly going to allow this video to be kind of a sonic case for this pedal. We're going to show a lot of sound samples throughout it and kind of lean into some of my favorite settings and sounds. This isn't going to be a demonstration video. I'm not going to really show the pedal much in action, but you're going to hear a lot of what can come from this pedal, hear a lot of the sweet spots that I've found from this pedal, and just kind of allow it to make a case for why the Mercury7 is still one of the best ambient reverbs on the market here. We're going to start by just hearing the two different modes of reverb you get with Mercury7, the Ultraplate and the Cathedra. And while the Ultraplate is a nice inclusion on the Mercury7 for a little more kind of daily driver type reverb or a more modest, tamed down plate style reverb, I really lean into that Cathedra mode for the big atmospheric ambient sounds because I think it's voiced really beautifully for those. It has a really nice dwell and decay and just kind of pretty quickly gets me to the reverb sound that I want when I'm playing ambient music. So let's check that out here, the contrast between those two, the Ultraplate and the Cathedra. of the main reasons I still find myself reaching for this pedal for live applications and studio projects is that it kind of has all the bells and whistles and features that I would want in a reverb built in. We're going to talk next about the swell function, which is a really awesome addition. With this left foot switch, you can engage a swell mode that mimics an auto volume swell and incorporates those big atmospheric reverb sounds for just a really useful and a really powerful tool if you don't have a volume pedal on your board, or if you just need to tap into some of those atmospheric volume swells on the fly. So let's check that out. A lot of reverbs obviously feature modulation as part of their voicing. The Mercury 7 does as well, and while you can get some really wild and out there modulation sounds in the reverb, I mean, this thing can get really big and atmospheric and wild like you'd expect from a Meris pedal. I find that there's a lot of beauty in the subtlety to the modulation on this pedal. You can really dial in a nice bit of waver or kind of movement underneath the reverb sound to keep things interesting. You can also incorporate that vibrato circuit if you want and really get wild with the mix and depth of the modulation. But I find the beauty and the subtlety here, especially in those kind of serene and atmospheric ambient sounds. So let's hear how the modulation in this pedal can kind of just work with those big Cathedra sounds to give you a little bit more nuance and character to your ambient textures. Another reason I love the Mercury 7, again, something I use pretty sparingly and in its subtlety, is the Shimmer feature. So this is included in that pitch vector, which you can again do some really wild and kind of more experimental things with the different intervals. But if you dial it up to the Shimmer mode and keep the Shimmer mix pretty low to just kind of have it show up in the background of some of that reverb decay, it's a really beautiful way to again add some interesting texture and nuance to your ambient guitar tones, allow some of that high-end kind of angelic shimmer to come out without being too obnoxious or too prominent. I just love that. I love that you can tap into the Shimmer mode as well with that pitch vector, and we're going to hear that now. The other thing I personally find really useful, especially on the fly in live settings, if you're needing to bridge through transitions of songs or just fill space with kind of a pad-like texture, again, this left foot switch can be held down to max out the decay of the reverb here and give you those lingering atmospheric reverb pad textures in a really beautiful way. And so that's just another tool in the toolbox of Mercury 7, another great feature that they included, and one that kind of helps round out the Mercury 7 as a really useful and versatile ambient reverb. So that's just a fun sonic exploration of the Meris Mercury7 here, and a quick case for why I think it's still one of the best ambient sounding reverbs on the market, even in 2026. I was just looking at reverb.com, and you can find these used in the 170 to 180 range, which I think makes it a really compelling option. It's a reverb that just sounds great. It has some fun and useful bells and whistles, a nice amount of controls and features without being overly dense or complicated. And if you can get it for under $200, again, a really compelling option. And while there's always a new shiny object in the pedal market to catch our attention, it's been fun to kind of circle back to some of these older pedals that have been around for years and see how they stack up. And every time I've plugged the Mercury 7 in or had it on a board, I've been really pleasantly surprised with how it sounds. And those features and the kind of bells and whistles are really useful in the ambient context. And so if you're hunting a new or a different or interesting ambient reverb, definitely check out the Mercury 7. It's worth your time. It should be on your list. And I think the sounds kind of speak for themselves. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.